Have you been grinding in ministry for months and maybe even years, wondering if it's actually possible to grow a church? Well, I'm here to tell you it is. And this video is for you because after 30 years of full-time ministry and 10 years of coaching pastors, I've identified 6 traits of healthy, growing churches. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 6 essential elements that can turn a declining church into a thriving community. And I'll also share how you can get a custom church health survey so you can measure, grow, and truly flourish as a church. If that sounds good to you, stick around. Let's talk about what makes a church truly healthy. Not just busy, not just trending online, but the kind of health where marriages heal, teens step up to lead, and someone finally exhales during worship because they feel safe. I've sat with pastors just like you, tired, faithful, juggling family and church life. And here's what I've learned. You don't need to do more. You just need to focus on what matters most. Let's walk through 6 elements that can change everything. The first one, engaging worship. Worship is more than what happens between the countdown timer and the sermon. It's the heartbeat of the church. I know a pastor who leads worship with just a piano and a mic and a rented storefront. No lights, no screen, but when they sing, it's like heaven leans in. Why? Because it's real. Engaging worship isn't about style. It's about connection. It's about creating moments where people let their guard down and remember who they are, a child of God. That might mean choosing songs people can actually sing, or leaving space between songs for reflection. Sometimes the most powerful part of worship is the silence. So ask yourself, are people participating or just watching? Are they being moved emotionally and spiritually? Because when worship becomes something people look forward to, not just something that they sit through, your church starts to feel less like an event and more like a meeting place with God. Number 2, transforming discipleship. I was helping a church in Ohio with their discipleship pathway, and I asked this question. If someone got saved in your church this Sunday, where would they grow on Monday? Discipleship is the bridge between decision and transformation. And here's the thing, sermons can spark growth, but community sustains it. One church I worked with didn't have a fancy curriculum. They asked one question, what's God been showing you lately? And they asked it every single week around a living room. Over time, walls came down, scripture came alive, people who have never led before started guiding others. Discipleship doesn't require a degree, it requires intentionality. Can someone in your church, anybody in your church, name the person that's helping them grow right now? That's the real test, because if people don't feel like they're growing, they won't stay. And even if they do stay, they'll stall. Number 3, equipping evangelism. Evangelism sounds big, but it often begins very small. I worked with a small town church that was feeling stuck. So we asked, what if we stopped trying to reach the whole community and just reached our street? They started a neighbor night. One house, one grill, 10 lawn chairs. No preaching, just presence. And people came, not because of a flyer, but because they were invited and they felt welcome. Equipping evangelism means training believers to share their faith effectively, to ask good questions, to listen well, to live in such a way that others feel safe enough to be curious about their faith. You don't need to launch a huge program. You just need to give people tools, a simple testimony guide, a coffee invite card, a prayer prompt. Evangelism doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be lived. Number 4, inspiring ministry. Every person in your church has a gift. But here's the secret. They might not know what it is until someone calls it out. I'll never forget Joyce. She was quiet. She sat in the back. One Sunday, a new mom needed help with a fussy baby, and Joyce swooped in like a pro. Turns out she had a heart for young moms, but never thought there was room for that in the church. So we made room. Inspiring ministry means making space for people to serve in ways that match their personality, their season of life, and their passion. Not every ministry needs a team of 10 and a custom logo. Sometimes it's one person baking muffins for the men's shelter. Sometimes it's a teenager running slides on Sunday morning. Ask your people what breaks your heart, then help them build ministry around that. Because when people serve from joy, not obligation, it changes everything. Number 5, empowering leadership. This one's close to home, because if you're watching this, chances are you're tired. And here's what I've learned. Healthy churches aren't built on superhero pastors. They are built on shared ownership. You weren't meant to carry it all. But the longer you delay developing leaders, the longer you stay stuck. I worked with a pastor who started with just 5 names. 5 people he saw potential in. He called it his Barnabas list. Each month, he met with them, encouraged them, gave them small tasks, let them learn from mistakes. Now, 2 of them lead full-time ministries, and he's got his weekends back. Empowering leadership isn't about replacing yourself, it's about multiplying yourself, so your vision can outlive your schedule. Then number 6, loving community. This is the one people feel even if they can't explain it. It's what makes a visitor stay. It's what makes a long-time member say, this is home. But let's be real, community is hard. It requires margin, vulnerability, patience. I worked with a church that hosted what they called open table Sundays. Once a month, instead of rushing out after service, members were invited to someone's home for lunch. No sign-ups, just, hey, come if you can. That simple act, eating together, sparked friendships, prayer partners, and spiritual growth. Loving community isn't about creating perfect systems. It's about creating consistent spaces where relationships can form. Because programs don't make people stay, people do. You might be thinking, Sean, all of this sounds great, but where do I even start? That's where I want to help. I've created a church health survey designed specifically to measure churches in these 6 areas. It's not about shaming or grading, it's about getting clarity. Clarity on what's strong and clarity on what might need fresh attention. We'll talk, I'll listen, and together we'll design a plan that fits your context. Whether you've got 25 people or 225, I believe your church can thrive. All you need to do is click the link below and apply. We'll take the guesswork out of growth and help your church become a place where people feel God and feel at home. I invite you to watch this video next, where I explain the church health survey process and what to expect. See you there.